Okay, on the engine block over here, Chris-Craft stamped the block. It says 4/1961. I would assume that was the day the engine was built. Chris-Craft bought industrial engines from General Motors. Take a close look. You'll see Autolite distributor, original Autolite 12-volt coil. Appears to have even the original spark plug wires, original clamps. Every clamp is that style. I've seen these on other 283s, but every clamp on the engine is original. It appears as that every hose on the engine is original, along with the original decal here for the fuel. Note there are no 283 decals on the valve covers. Not quite sure when Chris-Craft started putting those on. Note the unique water-cooled generator. The water pump is a gear-driven variety, and the number on it matches within the Chris-Craft parts manual as being correct for the serial number of this engine, which is 818971. Should have the gear-driven water pump. This engine, one other unique thing, this is just about the time, since the block is a 61, the engine may not have been completed until 62, and I believe Chris-Craft was getting ready to put alternators on them, so you'll notice that the housing has the boss to do the alternator. Obviously this engine was not equipped with an alternator new. It looks highly unlikely that someone changed that housing. If you look at the paint, it's the lighter blue that the VH used, a different blue than the Flathead 6s used, a little bit lighter. So correct paint. The valve covers, if you look at them, have real nice color to them still. Yeah, original washers with straight slot screws from GM. The original aluminum Winters manifold, cast by Winters for General Motors, but this intake specifically was made for Chris-Craft. Okay. Original Rochester carburetor. To my knowledge, I've never taken it apart, and it works flawlessly, including the accelerator pump. You'll see in Check out the original fuel filter, fuel shutoff to the line, but it's all hard-lined copper tubing to the original Carter fuel pump, and it comes through the fuel filter to the pump, original copper tubing with all the original brackets up with the original thing. Most 283s of this vintage, the fuel lines seem to be the first things that get lost. Original PCV system, the vertical PCV valve right here to the unique breather system that they used on the Chris-Craft 283s. Okay. If you look at all the intake bolts, they're all uniform, they're all the same. My observation is this intake manifold has never been removed from this engine. All of the bolts all match each other on all areas of the engine. If you look at the exhaust manifolds, it's pretty obvious that this engine has never seen salt water. It came out of a plywood home-built boat that looks like it had been stored inside most of its life. My assumption is this engine was bought from a Chris-Craft dealer, put in that plywood boat new. This engine was probably not shipped in a Chris-Craft new. It was probably sold as a package and then put in this home-built boat. Okay. Original Paragon 2XE transmission, totally original again, original paint on the engine. This one has all Autolite ignition on it. You can see the Autolite distributor Still has the original points in it. You can see the interesting little bit overspray in a couple spots. Check out the overspray on the exhaust manifold, like probably from when Chris Craft painted it. Their masking was probably production line oil filter. You can see the blue paint still on it. The canister originally was black from GM. Chris Craft painted it blue. Some of the paint, a lot of the paint has come off it. But there's the original decal on the canister oil filter.